4 teams with perfect records had games this week. Who joined the Chargers in staying undefeated? The Texans went out to Georgia. They were looking for a win to steal against the Falcons, but who really won the shootout between these two? And which team scored the most points in a single game since the NFL-AFL merger? All this and more coming up here on Tecmo Rewind. Hello everyone and welcome to Tecmo Rewind. I'm your host Joe, here to bring you all your highlights from around the league. Well, 5 NFL weeks have passed. Technically 4, but we won't count week 3. 5 NFL weeks have passed, and let me tell you, there are some pretty interesting battles brewing all over this league in each and every division. It doesn't look like anybody is really pulling away in any of them. There are a couple bottom feeders we're already looking at, but that's besides the point. We're here to look at who's on top. And right now, some good teams, but how long are they going to stay there is the big question. We'll find that out as the season goes along. But for now, let's focus on this week. So let's get started with a battle between the Chicago Bears and the Washington Commanders. Chris Rodriguez comes back for Washington. They might need him on special teams. First quarter, first drive for the Bears. Commanders got the ball first, but they were forced to punt. Fields connects with Chase Claypool. Claypool is going to take this one deep into Commanders territory, 53 yards. Fortunately, Chicago has to settle for a 38-yard field goal by Cairo Santos, but they strike first. It's 3-0. Next drive for the Commanders, Howell gets sacked by TJ Edwards, sent back 9 yards. But that's all right, because on the very next play, Howell's going to roll to his left and throw with his fellow 2022 classman, Jahan Dotson. Dotson going to take this one 43 yards for a touchdown. It's 7-3 Commanders. Then, later on, Fields going to get rushed and sacked by Jamin Davis. Send him back 10 yards. They're forced to punt. Commanders, Howell, they're going to get sacked too with an Andrew Billings 7-yarder. That pushes them back to about midfield. They try to settle for a Joey Sly field goal from 57 yards out. Unfortunately, wide left. No good. Bears, Justin Fields just going to run it in, punch it in from 2 yards out. It's 10-7 Chicago. Next drive for the Commanders, Howell going to roll to his left. Throw. He is going to connect with Jahan Dotson. Dotson. Can he? Could he? Will he? The Bears say no, but an 83-yard catch. Very next play, Howell going to toss it to Brian Robinson. Going to run it in from 8 yards out. It's 14-10 Commanders. On the next drive for the Bears, first play from scrimmage, Fields going to get wrapped up and taken out by Jonathan Allen, sent back 8 yards. That allows the Commanders to set up this 4-yard touchdown run by Brian Robinson. Unfortunately, it's 20-10 because Joey Sly missed this extra point. He doinked it. Rare you see a doink go for the Bears. On the first play for the second half, Velus Jones Jr. Now, Devin Hester was a former Bear, and Jones Jr. decides to channel his inner Devin Hester. That'll help to set up this Khalil Herbert 16-yard touchdown run. It's still 20-17. Commanders take the lead. Howell on the very first play of the first drive for the Commanders in the second half hooks up with Jahan Dotson. Can he? Could he? Will he? This time he will. An 86-yard touchdown catch makes it 27-17 Commanders. But Velus Jones Jr., he's not done with the big highlights of his kick returns. He's going to take this one 50 yards. However, later on in the drive, Fields going to look for Claypool. Instead, he finds Cameron Curl, who picks him off. But Commanders can't do anything with it. They're forced to punt. Jonathan Allen sacks Fields back 7 yards. And then, very next play, Cody Barton is going to send Fields back 9 yards. Fourth quarter, Bears still in trouble, but they still have 10 points. Justin Fields makes a 10-yard touchdown run. It's 27-24 Commanders, but Commanders can't do anything with it. They're forced to punt. Fields, late in the fourth quarter, not much time left. He's going to score a 16-yard touchdown run. It's 31-27 Bears. Commanders still have a chance. Howell dropping back, looking and firing over the middle for Curtis Samuel. Curtis Samuel is going to get the first down. It's a fourth down conversion, too. They hook up with Brian Robinson. Robinson going to break a tackle. He gets to about midfield. One play left for the Commanders. Howell looking for Terry McLaurin. Scary Terry. Can he? Could he? He will not. Time is up. The Bears Bears win this one 31-27 in a close matchup. Bears no longer winless. They go to 1-3. They take on the Vikings next week, whereas Washington heads down to Atlanta to take on the Falcons. Meanwhile, we go from nation's capital to the Patriots. They were hosting the New Orleans Saints. First quarter, Marcus Jones gets a 10-yard sack, but unfortunately they were forced to punt. On the punt return, Rashid Shaheed gets injured on a 6-yard return. So A.T. Perry is going to come in to replace him. Jamal Williams will take over kick and punt return duty. However, Carr gets wrapped up by Josh Uche, sent back 2 yards. That forces them to have to settle for a Blake Grupe 45-yard field goal. So the Saints are on the board first. It's 3-0 New Orleans. Second quarter, Mac Jones. He gets taken down from behind and fumbled. It's picked up by Brian Brees. He gets to about the 5. They'll say actually to the 6, because on the very next play, Alvin Kamara, 6-yard touchdown run. It's now 10-0 Saints. Then, Carr on the very next drive, the Patriots were forced to punt. He gets wrapped up, and then he gets sacked by Lawrence Guy. Sends him back 8 yards. Later on, Carr throwing over to about his right. Instead of finding A.T. Perry, he finds Christian Gonzalez. Patriots can't do anything with it. They're forced to settle for a Chad Ryland 34-yard field goal. It's 10-3 Saints. Very next play, Jamal Williams coming in for the punt kick return. He fumbles the ball, and it's picked up by someone on New England. We can't quite tell who. Unfortunately, they got to settle for another Chad Ryland field goal. It's 10-6 now. Saints have the lead at the end of the half. Third quarter, Mac Jones gets wrapped up by Cameron Jordan, sends him back 7 yards. They are forced to punt. On the next drive for the Saints, the first drive for them in the second half, they fumble the ball. It was Alvin Kamara who fumbled it. Dietrich Wise actually is the one to pick it up, but they're forced to punt again. End of the third quarter, Alvin Kamara gonna punch it in from 2 yards out, 17-6 New Orleans. On the next drive for the Patriots, a throw for Hunter Henry, unfortunately becomes a fumble by Hunter Henry. It's picked up by someone on New Orleans, we can't quite tell who. Very next play to start the fourth quarter, Carr gets wrapped up and then taken down by Josh Uche. Sends him back 2 yards, but that does not matter to New Orleans. They drive down the length of the field, and Carr hooks up with Chris Olave in the back of the end zone, a 13-yard touchdown, 24-6 Saints. However, Ezekiel Elliott gets this toss from 7 yards out. It's 24-13 Saints. But Carr patiently looks and fires for A.T. Perry, who jumps up to get this one, dodges a tackle, a 46-yard touchdown, makes it 31-13 New Orleans. Mac Jones going to get wrapped up and taken down by Pete Werner. Unfortunately, however, they're going to end with an attempted pass from Mike Gesicki, gets thrown to Alontae Taylor, who gets the pick. 31-13 New Orleans gets the lead. They head to Houston next week as they are no longer winless. New England drops to 2-2. They head to Las Vegas. Now for a match that was supposed to happen later this month. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers heading down to Buffalo to take on the Bills. First quarter, O'Keefe's attempted catch is picked off by Micah Hyde. Unfortunately, we do not have footage of the Bills going up 7-0 due to a power outage that happened in Buffalo. However, on the next drive for Tampa Bay, Chris Godwin gives Baker Mayfield some redemption on this 57-yard catch. And then later on in the drive, Mayfield will hook up with Godwin again from 17 yards out. It's 7-all. Deontay Hardy on the ensuing kickoff return. He is going to take this one out deep. He's going to get to the 35, 40, 45, 50. He's into Tampa Bay territory, and he gets to about the 39 on a 57-yard kick return. That helps to set up this 2-yard touchdown run by Josh Allen. It's 14-7 Buffalo. The ensuing drive for the Buccaneers, Greg Russo gets to Mayfield a 7-yard sack. Then, later on, Rachaad White fumbles the ball. It's picked up by Chris Benford. And that'll help to set up this connection from Josh Allen to Gabe Davis. From 36 yards out, it's 21-7 Buffalo. Second quarter, Rachaad White going to get handed the ball. And unfortunately, he's going to get hurt on this very standard 6-yard run. So that means Sean Tucker is going to come in to replace him. Later on in the drive, Mayfield in shotgun formation tries to run forward to get a better look, but he's wrapped up and taken down by Matt Milano. Bills will get the ball back on a punt. Unfortunately, they have to settle for a Tyler Bass 30-yard field goal. It's 24-7 Buffalo. Then, Josh throws for Stephon Diggs. Instead, he finds Antoine Winfield Jr., who gets the pick. Unfortunately, Tampa Bay couldn't do anything with it before halftime. Third quarter, Sean Tucker fumbles the ball, and it's picked up by Matt Milano. Once again, he comes through for the Bills, and that'll help to set up. Oh, not this. Allen tries to get something going. Unfortunately, Kalijah Kancey wraps him up. So, Bills forced to settle for a 27-yard field goal. They make it 27-7 over the Bucs right now. Very next play, a kick return by Devin Tompkins. This one is going to come out pretty deep. A 42-yard kick return that gets to midfield. And that'll help to set up this connection to Chris Godwin. A 40-yard touchdown by the Buccaneers. It's 27-14. Ensuing kickoff return, however, it's Deontay Hardy again. Hardy not going to take it quite as deep as what he did last time, but a 38-yarder, still very impressive. Fourth quarter, later on, Allen, deep into Tampa Bay territory, looks and fires to his right for Stephon Diggs, finds him from 3 yards out, 34-14, Buffalo. On the ensuing kickoff return, however, Devin Tompkins, a 13-yard kick return, results in tragedy. He is hurt, so that means Chase Edmonds is going to come in for kick and punt returns. However, a punch in by Sean Tucker from 1 yard out makes it 34-21. Tampa Bay still coming back, hopefully, but Allen hands it off to Damian Harris. A 4-yard touchdown run makes it a 20-point game. Later on in the game, Mayfield gets wrapped up and taken down by Von Miller, sends him back 7 yards, so Tampa got to go for it on fourth down. Mayfield tries to throw for somebody. Unfortunately, it is blocked, and that means Buffalo can just coast away with a victory. In garbage time, Logan Hall will get a 3-yard sack on Josh Allen, but on the very next play, does not matter if Allen throws for Dalton Kincaid and gets picked off by Carlton Davis because it's fumbled immediately and picked up by Dawson Knox. How about that hustle there for the Buffalo offense? Dalton Kincaid, however, will redeem himself a 7-yard touchdown catch, 48-21. Buffalo going to come away with the victory with this one and go to 3-1. They will take on the Giants next week. Tampa Bay, however, they drop to 2-2, and they get the Detroit Lions. Meanwhile, the Bengals are hoping to keep their undefeated season alive as they take on the Cardinals in Arizona. With Joe Burrow back, they might get that, and for added feels, Keontae Ingram comes back. First quarter, Joe Mixon going to punch it in from 3 yards out. It's 7-0 Cincinnati. Then, DJ Reader going to wrap up and take down Josh Dobbs, a 9-yard sack. They're forced to punt. That sets up this connection from Joe Burrow to Jamar Chase. A 52-yard touchdown catch makes it 14-0 Bengals. On the ensuing Cardinals drive, bad news for the Cardinals. James Conner will be hurt on this 5-yard run. And that means who has to come in to replace him? The guy they just got back from injury, Keontae Ingram, is going to come in. On the very next play, Dobbs going to get wrapped up and taken down by DJ Reader again on 6-yard sack this time. However, later on in the drive, Dobbs going to hook up with Michael Wilson. A 38-yard touchdown catch makes it a 14-7 game. But on the next drive for the Bengals, Burrow going to look to his right and throw for T. Higgins. Higgins going to take this one to 51 yards. The very next play, Burrow dropping back, looking, running forward, throws for Tyler Boyd. A 22-yard touchdown catch makes it 21-7. All that in just the first quarter. Second quarter, on the ensuing drive for the Bengals, Dennis Gardick is going to get a 1-yard sack. And then later on, Jonathan Ledbetter is going to get a 6-yard sack. Burrow, not quite happy with that. So he's going to hook up with T. Higgins again. A 33-yard touchdown makes it 28-7 Bengals. On the next drive for the Cardinals, Trey Hendrickson joins DJ Reader in the sack club. So that forces the Cardinals to settle for a 59-yard field goal by Matt Prater. It's 28-10. On the next drive for the Bengals, Jonathan Ledbetter gets another sack. This one sends Burrow back 7 yards. and forces them to settle for an Evan McPherson 44-yard field goal. It's still a 21-point game. Bengals still have the lead. Next drive for the Cardinals, DJ Reader gets another sack, sends him back 7 yards. Then, Keontae Ingram, oh no, they just got him back. A 4-yard run, he gets hurt on it. So that means Imari DeMercado comes in to replace him at running back, while Zach Pascal will replace him on returns. And that makes it the score at halftime, 31-10. On the ensuing drive for the Cardinals to start the third quarter, Marquise Brown, Hollywood Brown, takes it 58 yards. But on the very next play, B.J. Hill is going to get to Josh Dobbs. A 4-yard sack sends him back and forces them to settle for a 45-yard field goal by Matt Prater. It's 31-13. Cincinnati still has the lead. Bengals would drive down the length of the field on their next drive, but they have to settle for an Evan McPherson 53-yarder. 34-13 Cincinnati. DJ Reader, don't forget about him, Josh Dobbs. He won't let you. A 2-yard sack sends him back. Jonathan Ledbetter says, don't forget about me either. 4-yard sack sends Joe Burrow back further. Then Dobbs looking and firing for Zach Ertz. We haven't heard that name in a while. Ertz is going to take this. Oh, now he is hurt. The Cardinals are losing players left and right. So he is hurt, and Trey McBride is going to come in at tight end. Then Josh Dobbs strip sack that gets picked up by B.J. Hill. Hill is going to take this one deep into Cardinals territory. To start the fourth quarter on the very next play, Burrow throws for Jamar Chase. 15-yard touchdown makes it 41-13. Fourth down for the Cardinals. They're forced to go for it. Throw is for Michael Wilson, but it is way over his head. Turnover on downs. This one is now just in garbage time. Burrow gets wrapped up and taken out by Dennis Gardick, sends him back 7 yards. So that means they have to go for an Evan McPherson 38-yard field goal. It is 44-13 Bengals. Then Dobbs throws for Rondale Moore. Instead, he finds Chidobe Awuzie on the pick. So on the very next drive, Burrow going to look and fire for Jamar Chase. Chase gets the touchdown, 15 yards out. 30. And that will be a turnover on downs. That forces him to settle for a Joe Mixon 2-yard touchdown run. 58-13. And Cam Taylor-Britt will just put this away. The very last play of the game. Going to finally get taken down, but it does not matter. Bengals come away with the victory in this one, 58-13. They go take on Seattle next week in our game of the week for week 6. Whereas Arizona, they will head to LA to take on the Rams. Meanwhile, Davante Adams gets a visit from his old team as the Raiders host the Packers first quarter. Love hooking up with Christian Watson for a 51-yard touchdown. The Packers get on the board immediately, 7-0. On the first drive for the Raiders in the game, Garoppolo going to get found and taken down by Kenny Clark for an 8-yard sack. They're forced to punt, and that lets Love hook up with Luke Musgrave for a 25-yard touchdown catch. It's 14-0 Packers. However, on the ensuing drive for the Raiders, first play from scrimmage, Jimmy G rolls to his right on the play action. Who's he looking for? Davante Adams. He knows Davante wants to put up big numbers against Green Bay today. 73-yard touchdown catch makes it 14-7. Ensuing drive for the Packers, however, Kayshawn Nixon is going to take this one out 31 yards. Unfortunately, they have to settle for a 50-yard field goal by Anders Carlson. Makes it 17-7 Packers. Second quarter. Josh Jacobs immediately gets taken down, and it fumbles it. Rasul Douglas will pick up the fumble. Packers try to settle for a 56-yarder by Anders Carlson, but he's short. So that lets the Raiders get this connection deep downfield. Garoppolo for Davante Adams. 37-yard touchdown catch makes this a 3-point game, but Aaron Jones going to get handed the ball, run right into it, almost gets tackled, but does not matter. 24-14, Packers take the lead, but later on, Jimmy G once again rolls to his right, throws for Davante. 31-yard touchdown in the back of the end zone, nearly gets picked though. 24-21, Packers still have the lead, and Anders Carlson at the end of the half makes it a 55-yard field goal for a 27-21 lead. First drive for the Raiders in the second half, Rashawn Gary gets to Jimmy G for a 2-yard sack, but on the very next play, man in motion, Garoppolo hands it off to Josh Jacobs. Jacobs going to dodge some tacklers, breaks one tackler, and can he, could he, will he? He will not. But that's all right, because on the very next play, Jimmy G knows who to hook up with. Play action and throw for Davante Adams. Raiders. Then Love hooks up with a jumping Christian Watson for a 40-yard touchdown. 34-28, Packers have the lead. On the ensuing kickoff return, DeAndre Carter, he is going to get hurt on a 21-yard kick return. So that means Zamir White is going to have to come in for him on kick and punt returns. But Raiders do get down the field. And who is Jimmy G going to hook up with? Who else? Davante Adams, who after a roll to his right, it's 35-34. Raiders have a 1-point lead. Packers can't do anything with the next drive, so they're forced to punt. And so, Jimmy G can hook up with Jacoby Myers on this 54-yard catch. Fourth quarter, Daniel Carlson kicks a 45-yard field goal. It's 38-34 Raiders. But on the ensuing drive for the Packers, Love going to hook up with Romeo Doubs for an 8-yard touchdown. It's 41-38 Green Bay. On the ensuing drive, Garoppolo, play action. Who's he going to hook up with? Davante Adams. Can someone please cover this man for Green Bay? They're finally going to catch up to him and take him down, but a 54-yard catch helps to set up the 6-yard touchdown run by Josh Jacobs. It's 45-41 Raiders. Then Jordan Love hooks up with Christian Watson, jumps up to get this one. Can he? Could he? Will he? No, but it's a 53-yard catch, and that helps to set up this 4-yard fourth down conversion by Aaron Jones they had to go for. Very next play, Aaron Jones does it again. 48-45. Packers take the lead. Raiders still got time, though. Jimmy G gonna roll, gonna get sacked by Quay Walker. They don't have much time. Hook up with Josh Jacobs. Jacobs, he's going to take this one to about the 37. Next play, hook up with Jacobs again. He's just shy of the first down, though. So that makes it second down. They don't have much time. Hook up with Jacobs again. They're trying to get it as much time as they can give. But they run out of time for the field goal. So that means the Packers come away with the win. 48-45. Green Bay takes the victory here. They head to Denver in week 7 after a bye week next week. They go to 3-1. Raiders drop to 1-3. They host New England next week. Now for a battle in the lowly AFC South as the Titans head to the winless Colts. First play, Tyjae Spears is going to be hurt on a 15-yard kick return. So that means Julius Chestnut is going to come in on returns. And then, later on in the drive, for the first drive they have, give it to King Henry, but he fumbles the ball, and it's picked up by Zaire Franklin. He is going to almost run this for a scoop and score. However, on the very same drive for the Colts, Michael Pittman Jr.'s attempted catch gets picked off by Kevin Byard. So, that means give it to Derrick Henry. And Derrick Henry will go down on injury on this 5-yard run. So that means Julius Chestnut is going to replace him, this time at running back. He's the last running back they have in the roster. Very next play, Tannehill going to get wrapped up and taken down by Shaq Leonard, sends him back 4 yards. They're forced to punt. However, on the ensuing drive for the Colts, Zach Moss going to fumble the ball, and it's going to get recovered by Christian Fulton. Very next play, DeAndre Hopkins is going to get the toss from Ryan Tannehill from 21 yards out. It's 7-0 Titans. Someone finally gets on the board. Then, this pass from Michael Pittman Jr. gets picked off by Christian Fulton. He can do everything on that defense, can he? Second quarter, Tannehill hooks up with Nick Westbrook-Akine for a 14-yard touchdown. It's 14-0 Titans. On the ensuing drive for the Colts, Richardson going to get taken down by Azeez Al-Shaair for a 3-yard sack. However, they drive down the length of the field, and Richardson going to run it himself on a 2-yard punch-in. It's 14-7 Titans still have the lead. Very next drive for the Colts, however, Samson Ebukam is going to get a 4-yard sack on Tannehill. They drive down the field, but they have to settle for a 31-yard field goal by Nick Folk at the very end of the half. It's 17-7. Titans still have the lead. Third quarter, Richardson going to get found by Azeez Al-Shaair, sends him back 3 yards. They're forced to punt. However, Tannehill gets wrapped up and taken down by Grover Stewart, sends him back 8 yards. They're forced to punt. Colts drive down the length of the field, hand it off to Zach Moss for a 4-yard punch-in. It's 17-14. Indianapolis still trailing only by 3. Then, Tannehill rolls to his left, being chased. Throw is for DeAndre Hopkins. Hopkins was the big free agent that was looking for a team this offseason. Makes a 67-yard catch. They're forced to settle, however, for a Nick Folk 30-yard field goal. 20-14 Titans. On the ensuing drive for the Colts, however, Richardson going to get found by Jeffrey Simmons for a 6-yard sack. And then, later on in the drive, Richardson throws for downs. It gets picked off by Kevin Byard. However, on the very next play, Tannehill in shotgun formation going to get taken down by Zaire Franklin. Fourth quarter now. Colts get their first possession of the quarter. Azeez Al-Shaair wraps up and takes down Richardson. Very next play, 4th down. Anthony Richardson rolling to his right. Doesn't find anyone, just going to run it himself. Richardson, he is in deep territory. That was a 4th and long, and he runs for the first down himself on the 4th down conversion. Later on, he's going to hook up with Mo Alley Cox. Cox in the end zone practically. A 44-yard touchdown makes it 21-20. Colts have the lead. But Tannehill, play action, rolls to his left and throws for DeAndre Hopkins. 27-yard touchdown catch in the end zone. He had to dive for it. 27-21 Titans. They're forced to punt. And then Julius Chestnut, no! He's injured on the punt return. So Chris Moore, a backup wide receiver, has to come in at running back. Colton Dowell is going to come in on returns. Very next play, however, Treylon Burks. Can he? Could he? Will he? He will not. But on the very next play, the Coltons are going to seal this game. Tannehill tosses it to Chris Moore. 2-yard touchdown run makes it 34-21. We're in garbage time. We still have some time. However, Richardson going to try and throw for it. Incomplete. They're forced to turn it over on downs. Very next play, however, Chris Moore will fumble it, and it will get recovered, thankfully, by Andre Dillard. Titans win this one 34-21, so they safely get 2-2. They take on Baltimore next week, whereas Indianapolis, they drop to 0-4. They have to head to Jacksonville, a place they have not done well in recently. Now to the other division rival matchup that happened this week. The Ravens get Devin Duvernay back as they take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. First quarter, Ravens drive down the field. Justin Tucker boots this one in from 43 yards out. It's 3-0 Ravens to start. But on the Steelers' first drive of the game, toss to Deontay Johnson. He has to dive for it, and he gets it just barely in the end zone. It's a 23-yard touchdown catch and makes it 7-3 Steelers. On the next drive for the Ravens, Cole Holcomb gets behind and takes down Lamar Jackson. Then T.J. Watt gets to Lamar, sending him back 6 yards. They're forced to punt. Steelers do drive down the field, but after this Broderick Washington sack at the end of the first quarter, they have to rely on Chris Boswell's leg. 34-yard field goal makes this a 10-3 Steelers lead. But the Ravens, when they get the ball back, drive down the field, and Lamar Jackson punches this in from 3 yards out. It's tied up at 10. Steelers do drive down the field. Pickett looks and fires for Deontay Johnson again in the middle of the field, and he gets a 25-yard touchdown. No need to dive for this one. However, Chris Boswell's extra point is blocked, so it's 16-10. On the ensuing kickoff, Devin Duvernay is going to take this one 31 yards. Pretty good return for him. However, a toss that was for Gus Edwards instead gets picked off by Cole Holcomb, so the Steelers get the ball back, and they get it into Ravens territory on the pick. That helps to set up this Najee Harris 4-yard touchdown run. It's 23-10 Pittsburgh. In the third quarter, Pickett on his first drive tosses for Pat Freiermuth, who gets in from 12 yards out, 30-10 Steelers. Lamar will run with the ball when he gets the ball back. However, he's hurt on this play. A 14-yard run. Just like last year, he's hurt, and he will have to be replaced for the game at the very least by Tyler Huntley. Huntley will come in and drive down the field a little bit more, and so they'll get enough room for Justin Tucker to kick this one a 26-yard field goal. It's a 17-point game. Michael Pierce will then get behind and take down Kenny Pickett for a 4-yard sack. But a couple plays later, Pickett looks and finds Deontay Johnson to his right. 42-yard touchdown. Makes this a 36-13 game because, again, Chris Boswell is not able to get the extra point. This time it doinks off the left upright. On the Ravens' next drive, Tyler Huntley gets taken down by Landon Roberts, sending him back 8 yards. But Huntley looks and fires for Mark Andrews. Andrews dodges some defenders, bobs and weaves, but gets the 4th down conversion. That'll help set up this Odell Beckham Jr. 3-yard touchdown catch. Makes it 36-20. They go for the onside kick, and the Ravens will recover it. And that'll help them drive down the field and set up this Gus Edwards 18-yard touchdown run. So now it's just a 9-point game. It's 36-27. They kick the ball to Pittsburgh. However, they drive down the field, and Najee Harris punches it in from 3 yards out, 43-27. Tyler Huntley trying for something, runs with the ball, gets wrapped up, taken down, and he fumbles it, and it's recovered by Rashad Bateman. Steelers pull away with the 43-27 victory in this one. They get the Rams in Week 7. They have a bye week this week and go to 2-2. Baltimore drops to 1-3. They get to go to Tennessee next week. Cowboys taking on the 49ers in our game of the week. George Kittle returns to the 49ers. They are going to need him. First quarter, Darnold looks and fires for George Kittle, who will easily avoid any tacklers. It's 7-0 49ers strike first. Cowboys do drive down the field, but Brandon Aubrey is going to have to be the one to do the work to get the points. 7-3 on a 37-yard field goal. Sam Darnold does get the 49ers down the field, but he's wrapped up and taken out by Leighton Vander Esch. A few plays later, he looks and finds Brandon Ayuk, or at least he'd like to have found him. Instead, he finds Malik Hooker, who picks him off in the end zone. That allows Dak Prescott to throw for CeeDee Lamb. Lamb has to jump up to get this ball, which might have cost him what he needed to get a touchdown. The 62-yarder, still pretty good, and it allows the second quarter 9-yard touchdown catch by Jake Ferguson. It's 10-7 Cowboys. Darnold tries to look for Kyle Juszczyk this time. Instead, he finds Donovan Wilson, who's going to take this one. A few plays later, Prescott dropping back. He instead gets wrapped up and taken down by Isaiah Oliver for an 8-yard sack. Unfortunate, they have to punt. Darnold eventually does get another chance to find Brandon Ayuk. This time, he does find him without needing to look for Malik Hooker. And unfortunately for him, Ayuk not quite able to get a touchdown, and after 3 straight plays of nothing, they settle for a Jake Moody 26-yard field goal. Game is tied at 10. But before halftime happens, Brandon Aubrey will kick this 46-yard field goal to put the Cowboys up 13-10. We go into the third quarter. Prescott in shotgun looks for CeeDee Lamb and finds him. However, there isn't as much separation, so he's not quite able to get nearly as deep as what he would have liked to last time. 60-yard catch. Fortunately, a couple plays later, Tony Pollard's attempted catch is intercepted by Charvarius Ward, but on the very next play, a pass for Brandon Ayuk, picked off by Malik Hooker yet again. And on the very next play after that, Prescott going to drop back a little bit, throw to his left, CeeDee Lamb, this time he scores a 33-yard touchdown, but it's 19-10 because Brandon Aubrey missed the extra point. It doinked off the right upright. On the next drive for the 49ers, Darnold tries to run with it, and he is sacked by DeMarcus Lawrence for a 4-yarder. They're forced to punt. Prescott does get another chance. He throws to Michael Gallup on a 21-yard touchdown. It's 26-10 Cowboys. Darnold drives down the length of the field, throws for Christian McCaffrey, instead finds Donovan Wilson yet again. The Cowboys are forced to punt, but the 49ers get downfield. DeMarcus Lawrence gets an 8-yard sack. Very next play, toss for Christian McCaffrey on what is essentially a screen pass. He's not quite able to get the first down. Cowboys punt again, but they force Christian McCaffrey back behind the line of scrimmage on this loss of yardage. And then, nice little toss to CeeDee Lamb there. 22-yard touchdown makes it 33-10 Cowboys. Ray McLeod does try to make something interesting for the highlight reel here. A 51-yard kick return, but it does not matter. 49ers were held scoreless throughout the entire second half. Cowboys win this one 33-10. They head to LA next week to take on the Chargers at 3-1. San Francisco no longer perfect. They head to Cleveland next week. Now to a Super Bowl IV rematch. The Chiefs in Minnesota to take on the Vikings. First quarter, first drive for the Vikings. Cousins' throw for TJ Hawkinson overthrown, and L'Jarius Sneed is there to pick him off. And that'll help to set up this touchdown pass from Mahomes to Kadarius Toney in the back of the end zone. It's 7-0 Chiefs strike first. But on the Vikings' next drive, Cousins looks and fires to his left for Jordan Addison. Addison is going to take this one to the house. A 57-yard touchdown pass ties this one up at 7. On the ensuing kickoff, Jerick McKinnon. He is going to dodge and weave around Vikings defenders as best as he can. He's going to get caught and fumbles the ball, but thankfully for him, someone on the Chiefs there to recover it. Later on in the drive, Mahomes rolls to his left and fires right in front of him for Sky Moore. Moore's going to get the first down, but he's going to get caught and fumble it out of bounds. Fortunately, it was out of bounds, thankfully. And on the very next play, Mahomes in shotgun, plenty of time, throws for MVS. Marquez Valdes-Scantling, a 27-yard touchdown catch makes it a 14-7 Chiefs lead. But on the ensuing drive, first play from scrimmage for the Vikings, Jordan Addison. No one anywhere close to him. He's got enough room to make this a 71-yard touchdown catch, ties it up at 14. But later on, Mahomes, play action, looking and firing to his left for Kadarius Toney. A 46-yard touchdown catch makes it 21-14. By the way, that was all just the first quarter. Second quarter, first drive for the Vikings. Jordan Addison makes a 26-yard touchdown catch to tie it up. Chiefs are forced to punt. That allows Cousins to connect with Justin Jefferson to make this 53-yard catch. That'll help set up this connection from Cousins to his left for Jordan Addison. 22-yard touchdown catch makes it a 28-21 Vikings lead. Harrison Butker will boot this one in from 53 yards out. They figured they couldn't quite get downfield, so it's 28-24 Vikings. Then a throw for Justin Jefferson. Can he? Could he? Will he? Time expires in the half, and he's not quite able to score, but it's a very nice 69-yard catch. Third quarter, Brian Asamoah. Someone finally on the defense gets to a quarterback, makes a 9-yard sack. Later on, Dean Lowry makes an 8-yard sack, but on the very next play, Mahomes hand off to Isaiah Pacheco, and he is hurt. A 4-yard run, so Jerick McKinnon, you're going to have to step up. More than just doing kick and punt returns, you're going to have to be the running back on duty. But that's all right, because the throw for Sky Moore is fumbled and picked up by Jordan Hicks of the Vikings. Oh, that is not what the Chiefs want to have happen. So that'll help to set up this connection from Cousins to Justin Jefferson in the back of the end zone. 7-yard touchdown makes it 35-24 Vikings. Then Travis Kelce, a 9-yard touchdown catch, very easy, but the extra point by Harrison Butker is blocked, so it's a 5-point game. Fourth quarter, the Chiefs get the ball back, but Dean Lowry gets behind Mahomes, sacks him for 1 yard. That's all right, says Mahomes, drives down the field enough to connect to Kadarius Toney. 22-yard touchdown makes it 37-25 Chiefs. Then Vikings were forced to punt, but an intercepted pass that was meant for Sky Moore instead picked off by Harrison Smith. Then our footage started getting glitchy. We don't know what was going on. Harrison Smith, Alexander Madison, unfortunately fumbled out of bounds, but that's all right because later on, a 13-yard touchdown catch to Alexander Madison makes it a 42-37 game. But this a catch for Kadarius Toney. That will be shown after. Wow, this footage got real glitchy. I apologize. This is not up to our standards, but we want to show you every touchdown that we do have footage of. A 55-yard catch, big play. That'll help to set up a touchdown pass from Mahomes to Kadarius Toney. A 9-yard touchdown pass makes it 44-42 Chiefs. Real shame that this is all glitchy. This is a really good-looking game. Ty Chandler going to take this one 47 yards. They got less than a minute to go, and they're just outside of Chiefs territory. Cousins going to look and fire for TJ Hawkinson. He misses, so second down. Cousins once again looks to his left for Addison. Can't make it, so they got to rely on Greg Joseph in the final seconds. A 69-yard field goal. You'd think it'd be nice, but unfortunately it's not. Thankfully, this footage is better. A 44-42 victory for the Chiefs. They go to 3-1. Vikings no longer perfect. They drop to 3-1. Both teams have division rivals. Chiefs take on Denver. Minnesota goes to Chicago. Speaking of Denver, they were hosting the New York Jets today. First quarter, Wilson throws for Courtland Sutton. And he finds Sutton. However, Sutton taken down from behind and fumbles it. It's picked off by Sauce Gardner. And that'll help to set up this connection from Mahomes to Allen Lazard. 20-yard touchdown pass makes it a 7-0 Jets lead. Then, connection to Jerry Jeudy. Jeudy, can he? Could he? Will he? He will not. He's going to be taken down just short, but that's all right. Javonte Williams will run it in from 5 yards out. Ties this game up at 7. But the Jets drive down the field, and Allen Lazard going to get a touchdown pass from 14 yards out, 14-7 Jets. Then Russell Wilson going to get sacked by Al Woods, a 7-yard sack. They're forced to punt, but Rodgers then gets sacked by Zach Allen, a 6-yard sack. A few plays later, Jonathan Harris gets in on the sacking action, 11-yarder to end the first quarter. Second quarter, Wilson throws to his left for Jerry Jeudy. Jeudy, fortunately, does not have enough separation between him and the defenders, but still, pretty good 57-yard catch. That'll help to connect and set up this Javonte Williams 1-yard touchdown run. It's tied at 14. Rodgers is going to get taken down by Frank Clark. They're forced to punt. So that'll set up this connection from Russell Wilson to Cortland Sutton to the right. That is a 35-yard touchdown pass, makes it 21-14. Then DJ Jones gets a sack of Aaron Rodgers, an 8-yard sack. But that's all right because Rodgers will drive down the field. Allen Lazard makes a 35-yard touchdown, ties it up at 21. On the next drive for the Broncos, Wilson going to get wrapped up and taken down by Quincy Williams, sending him 11 yards back. They're forced to punt. Mecole Hardman Jr. at the very end of the half will be hurt. So that means Randall Cobb will have to come in at wide receiver since Hardman was a wide receiver. As for returns, that'll be Breece Hall's job. Third quarter, very first play. The kickoff return by Breece Hall. This one will be taken 35 yards. But unfortunately, Jets not able to do anything with it. Russell Wilson looks for a connection for Cortland Sutton, way overthrows him, and instead he finds Jordan Whitehead. However, a couple plays later, Patrick Surtain is going to pick off Rodgers' pass for Dalvin Cook. So that'll help set up this later on in the drive. Wilson to Melvin Mims Jr., 24-yard touchdown catch, 28-21 Broncos. But Garrett Wilson will get a touchdown of his own, a 31-yard touchdown, ties it up at 28. On the ensuing drive for the Broncos, Al Woods going to get to Russell Wilson, an 8-yard sack. So we go into the fourth quarter. Carl Lawson is then going to get to Russell Wilson that was trying to scramble. But that's all right, says Russell Wilson. I've got weapons of my own. Somehow gets past the defenders and finds Adam Troutman, a 26-yard touchdown after breaking a tackle and dodging another. Puts the Broncos up 35-28. But Rodgers connects with Allen Lazard for a 14-yard touchdown. It's 35-35. What is this, 2014? Russell Wilson going to get taken down by Ahmad Gardner, sending him back 10 yards. And then Russell Wilson going to play action, throw for Adam Troutman. Troutman, middle of the field. He's going to be taken down and fumbled. And it's recovered by Quincy Williams. Not much time left for the Jets, but if they can get down deep enough, they can get Greg Zuerlein to try and get a field goal, or heck, even just put a touchdown on the board. Williams taken down from behind. Greg Zuerlein, 29-yard field goal. It's up, and it is good. Jets win their first game of the year, 38-35 over the Broncos. They get the Eagles next week. Like we said, the Broncos, who will go to 2-2, they have to head to Kansas City to take on division rival, the Chiefs. Now for a battle of NFC Cats, the Carolina Panthers will get Miles Sanders and Chuba Hubbard back as they head to Detroit to take on the undefeated Lions. First quarter, Goff dropping back, fires to his left for Jahmyr Gibbs, but he finds Dante Jackson instead. So the Panthers get the ball immediately for the first quarter. That'll help to set up this DJ Chark 32-yard touchdown catch, 7-0 Panthers. On the ensuing Lions drive, Shaq Thompson gets to Jared Goff, sending him back 9 yards, so they're forced to punt. That'll help to set up another DJ Chark touchdown, this one from 23 yards out, so it's 14-0 Panthers. Next drive for the Lions, Shaq Thompson gets to Goff again for a safety. It's 16-0 Panthers, but Alan McNeil will get to Bryce Young for a sack of his own. That's all right, so for the Panthers, so they can just connect to DJ Chark. 40-yard touchdown makes it 23-0 Panthers. On the ensuing drive, Goff looks to his right and fires for Amon-Ra St. Brown. St. Brown will not have enough separation between him and the defenders, but it's a 67-yard catch. Unfortunately, the next play, Derek Brown will find and take down Jared Goff for a 4-yard sack, so that means they have to rely on Riley Patterson's leg. A 38-yard field goal. Make sure the Lions don't get shut out. It's 23-3. On the ensuing drive, Young gets sacked by fellow rookie Brian Branch, so they're forced to punt. That'll let the Lions score a 13-yard touchdown pass from Goff to Brock Wright. 23-10. Panthers still have the lead. Alan McNeil will then get a 3-yard sack on Bryce Young, but that's all right. If you can't pass, just toss it to Miles Sanders, who will make a 7-yard touchdown punch-in. 30-10 Panthers. On the ensuing drive, Goff looks and fires to his right for Amon-Ra St. Brown. St. Brown's going to take this one 53 yards. Unfortunately, he is hurt. That is the Lions' best weapon, getting taken off the field due to an injury. So that means Khalif Raymond is going to have to step up for him. They'll drive down the field, and a toss to Jahmyr Gibbs makes this a 2-yard touchdown, 30-17 at halftime. Third quarter, Brian Branch gets to Bryce Young again, a 2-yard sack. But they'll keep driving down the field, and Young will hook up with Jonathan Mingo over the middle. That'll put the Panthers up 37-17 off that 11-yard touchdown. Shaq Thompson then gets to Jared Goff for a 9-yard sack. They're forced to punt. Aiden Hutchinson gets to Bryce Young for a 7-yard sack. They're forced to rely on a 55-yard field goal from Eddie Pinheiro, but he does sink it in, so it's 40-17 Panthers. On the next drive for the Lions, Goff dropping back, tries to get a better position like he did against the Kansas City Chiefs. Unfortunately, Brian Burns was ready for him, a 2-yard sack. On the ensuing punt, Raheem Blackshear going to fumble the ball. Thankfully for him, it's secured by Xavier Woods. They'll drive down the field, but Derek Barnes will get an 11-yard sack on Bryce Young, so they have to instead go for a 31-yard field goal by Eddie Pinheiro. Makes it 43-17 Panthers. Then, Goff dropping back, looking and firing for Khalif Raymond instead of Amon-Ra St. Brown. Fortunately, Raymond was not there, and he finds Xavier Woods instead. That'll help set up a DJ Chark 36-yard touchdown pass. That puts the Panthers up 50-17. On the ensuing drive, Goff in shotgun formation is going to get found by Shaq Thompson. However, it's still garbage time. Goff looking and firing to his right for Khalif Raymond. Raymond going to get this one, and he's going to take this one all the way to the 20-yard line. But a 65-yard catch. That'll help set up this Goff connection to Khalif Raymond again in the end zone. A 9-yard touchdown makes it 50-24 Panthers. Lions still playing for pride. Aiden Hutchinson going to sack Bryce Young back 4 yards. And then this field goal by Eddie Pinheiro is blocked. It would have been a 43-yarder. It's instead recovered by Alex Anzalone. He's going to take it into Panthers territory. Not enough time for them to take a lead, but enough for them to at least play for pride. Goff throwing for Khalif Raymond, a 31-yard touchdown in garbage time, makes it 50-31. They'll try for the onside kick, and they will recover it, but unfortunately it doesn't matter. Panthers win this one by 18, and they go to Miami next week. Lions head to Tampa Bay. And now for a shootout in Atlanta. Falcons hosting the Houston Texans. First quarter, Brian Robinson going to punch it in from 3 yards out, makes it 7-0 Falcons. The Houston Texans will drive down the length of the field, but C.J. Stroud going to get wrapped up by Troy Anderson, sending him back 1 yard. So instead, he'll just hand it to Dameon Pierce. Pierce going to run it in from 13 yards, ties the game up at 7. On the next drive for the Falcons, Ritter hands it off to Robinson. Robinson has been a potential Rookie of the Year candidate for the Falcons. Unfortunately, he fumbles this one. It's recovered by Derek Stingley. On the ensuing drive for the Texans, a throw for Nico Collins for 43 yards, puts the Texans up 14-7. Ensuing drive for the Falcons, Ritter tosses for Bijan Robinson. Robinson, he's going to get the first down. He's going to get into Texans territory, and then he's going to fumble the ball. And then it's going to get recovered by Jimmy Ward. However, on the ensuing drive for the Texans, C.J. Stroud going to get wrapped up and taken down by Troy Anderson. So they're forced to punt. On the Falcons' first drive in the second quarter, Bijan Robinson, he is going to take this one to the house. A 21-yard touchdown ties it up at 14. But the Texans drive down the length of the field, and Dameon Pierce will punch it in from 12 yards out. It's 21-14 Texans lead. However, C.J. Stroud will then get wrapped up in the next Texans drive by Calais Campbell. A 6-yard sack forces them to punt. Then a throw from Mac Hollins gets fumbled, and instead it's picked up by Tavierre Thomas of the Texans. They have to rely on Ka'imi Fairbairn to kick a 50-yard field goal. Unfortunately, he's wide right. On the very next play, though, Desmond Ridder throws for Tyler Algier. Instead, he finds Jimmy Ward at the end of the half. Third quarter, Falcons will get a nice-looking interception here off Dameon Pierce. Thanks to A.J. Terrell. They'll drive down the field a little bit more thanks to this Bijan Robinson 43-yard run. Just look at this man run. This is Texas running. That'll help set up this 5-yard touchdown catch by Kyle Pitts. He had to jump for it, but they tie it up at 21. On the ensuing kickoff return, Mike Boone. He's been pretty good for the Texans, so the Falcons are going to take him out of this game off an injury. So that means Devin Singletary is going to come in for the kick returns. And then, later on, Stroud throws for Collins, and he's going to fumble the ball immediately after he gets it. They're going to say it's a fumble, and Jesse Bates is going to recover that one. On the ensuing Falcons drive, Bijan Robinson. He's going to dodge one tackle. Can he? Could he? Will he? He will not, but it's a 55-yard run that will help to set up Bijan Robinson getting a toss here for a 3-yard punch-in. It's 28-21 Falcons. On the ensuing Texans drive, Troy Anderson is going to find and take down C.J. Stroud for a 3-yard sack, but they still have the ball to start the fourth quarter. Dalton Schultz will take this one, a 10-yard touchdown, ties it up at 28. On the Falcons' next drive, Desmond Ridder going to get sacked by Tavierre Thomas, send him back 11 yards. On the very next play, Jonathan Greenard's going to sack Ridder for a 4-yard sack. But they have their weapon. They drive down the field and they give it to Bijan Robinson. Robinson, could he get a touchdown? No, he won't. He's going to get taken down from behind. But Desmond Ridder going to take it in himself, a 2-yard punch-in. 35-28 Falcons. Stroud still has some time. He's going to throw for Dalton Schultz. Schultz, he's going to fumble the ball. Troy Anderson's going to pick it up, and the Falcons will win this one 35-28 in a very good game for both of these teams. Houston goes to 1-3. They get New Orleans. Atlanta gets Washington. And now for a brutal game between the Giants and Dolphins. First quarter, Tyreek Hill jumping touchdown catch from 31 yards out, 7-0. On the first drive for the Giants, Saquon Barkley's going to fumble it. Christian Wilkins, he's going to scoop and score this one from 25 yards. It's 14-0 Dolphins. On the very next drive, Raekwon Davis going to get a 7-yard sack on Daniel Jones. But they will drive down the field, and Saquon Barkley will get a 33-yard touchdown. It's 14-7 Dolphins. But on the next drive for the Dolphins, Tua's going to throw for Tyreek Hill again. A 41-yard touchdown. He leaps up to get. It's 21-7 Dolphins. Second quarter, Jones throws for Isaiah Hodgins, and he finds Kader Coho, who's going to pick this one off. And that'll help to set up the very next play. Tua throws to his right for Tyreek Hill. 24-yard touchdown makes it 28-7 Dolphins. Giants decide to go be ballsy and go for it. Saquon Barkley can't get the first down. They're forced to turn it over. Very next play, Jalen Waddle. We haven't heard much of him. Can he? Could he? Will he? He will not. He's taken down. But a 64-yard catch helps to set up this 6-yard touchdown pass to Durham Smythe. That puts it at 35-7 Dolphins lead. But Daniel Jones, he's got a weapon of his own to throw to. Paris Campbell. Yes, you heard me right. Paris Campbell's going to get into the red zone on a 54-yarder. On the next play, a couple plays later, Daniel Jones going to get found, and he's going to fumble the ball, and it's picked up by Raekwon Davis. So Davis gives the Dolphins another possession. While the Giants were deep in Dolphins territory, Raheem Mostert, however, is going to get hurt on this 3-yard run. So that means Jeff Wilson Jr. is going to come in to replace him at running back. However, Dolphins keep driving down the field. Tua throws and fires for Jalen Waddle. A 32-yard jumping touchdown catch makes it 42-7. At the half, Dolphins have the lead. Third quarter, first possession for the Giants. Daniel Jones gets wrapped up, and then he's taken down by Jerome Baker, sending him back 2 yards. On the ensuing drive for the Dolphins, Tua makes a very bad throw to Jeff Wilson Jr. and instead finds Jason Pinnock. But in the very next play, Saquon Barkley will fumble. Thankfully, it's covered by John Michael Schmitz. But they're forced to punt, and Tyreek Hill got an 8-yard touchdown later on in the quarter, 49-7 Dolphins. Then on the Giants' next drive, Saquon going to run with it, and he is going to fumble the ball. It's picked up by Raekwon Davis. So the Dolphins will go into the fourth quarter with the ball, and Tua is going to look and fire for Tyreek Hill. Hill, easy 15-yard touchdown, makes it 56-7 Dolphins. On the ensuing drive, Darius Slayton wants to make his name known. He's going to take this one 50 yards. However, a couple plays later, Zach Sealer going to sack Daniel Jones, sending him back 5 yards. And then Jerome Baker is going to send him back 2 yards. But a couple plays later, Saquon going to run this one, dodges a few tackles, breaks through, and gets a touchdown. So it's 56-14. They drive for an onside kick. Unfortunately, the Dolphins are going to be the one to recover this one. And this one is Tyreek Hill. Hill's going to take this one 46 yards. And on the very next play, Jeff Wilson Jr. just going to punch it in from 12 yards out. It's 63-14 Dolphins. Then Paris Campbell going to fumble the ball on this pass. And it's picked up by Javon Holland. Can they make it 70? Well, Tua, I don't know if he gets sacked by Adoree Jackson, sent back 6 yards, maybe not. But they'll drive down. Tua hands off to Wilson. Jeff Wilson Jr., a 20-yard touchdown run. 70 points. The most points by a team since the NFL-AFL merger. And it's the Dolphins come away with the 70-14 win. They go to 3-1. They take on the Panthers next week. Giants drop to 0-4, and they head to Buffalo. And finally, Philadelphia Eagles in LA to take on the Rams. First quarter, Cam Akers, he is going to fumble this ball. It's going to get picked up by James Bradbury. And that'll help to set up this 43-yard field goal by Jake Elliott. Eagles strike first, 3-0 Philly. On the ensuing Rams drive, Stafford dropping back and looking for Tutu Atwell. Fires for him. He is wide open. Dodges one tackle. Gets in the Eagles' territory. A 53-yard catch. That'll help to set up this punch-in by Cam Akers. 7-3, Rams take the lead. But the Eagles drive down the field, and Jalen Hurts just needs to look for one man. That man, A.J. Brown. 21-yard touchdown makes it 10-7 Eagles. But Stafford once again finds Tutu Atwell. Can he? Could he? Will he? No, he's going to get taken down at the 10. And Brandon Graham in the second quarter will send Matthew Stafford back 7 yards. But on the very next play, Stafford is going to look for Tyler Higbee. And Higbee going to dodge some tackles on a juke. That makes it 14-10 Rams. But the Eagles drive down the length of the field, and DeAndre Swift will make a 4-yard touchdown run, making it 17-14. Stafford going to try and get a little bit better room, but Avonte Maddox waiting for him, a 2-yard sack. Means the Rams have to settle for a 47-yard field goal by Brett Maher, tied up at 17. On the next drive for the Eagles, this throw for Devontae Smith. Wide open. Can he? Could he? Will he? He will take it to the house. A 91-yard touchdown pass. Makes it 24-17. End of the quarter, Brett Maher has to settle for a 30-yard field goal. Makes it 24-20. Third quarter, first drive for the Eagles. Devonta Smith. He does it again. He takes it to the house. A 68-yard touchdown makes it 31-20 Eagles. That's all right. Stafford can hand it off to Cam Akers, but Akers will fumble and it's recovered by Josh Sweat. That'll help to set up this pass from Hurts to A.J. Brown, who was the MVP for the Eagles receiving corps last year. And this time he's going to take this one 70 yards for a touchdown, 38-20 Philadelphia. On the ensuing drive for the Rams, Nakobe Dean going to sack Matthew Stafford back 4 yards, and then immediately he does it again, sending him back 3 yards. So they're forced to punt. On the Eagles' ensuing drive, they drive down the length of the field. Ernest Brown going to sack Jalen Hurts back 7 yards. But on the very next play, just toss it for Quez Watkins. Nearly picked off, but threads the needle. 45-20 Eagles. On the ensuing Rams drive to start the fourth quarter, Nakobe Dean a 10-yard sack. But Stafford throws for Cooper Kupp. 16-yard touchdown makes it 45-27 Philadelphia. But Philadelphia will not let that go unpunished. 22-yard touchdown pass to A.J. Brown makes it 52-27. Stafford then throws for Cam Akers. On the sideline he runs. He fumbles it. He fumbles it out of bounds. They drive down the length of the field, but Jalen Carter gets to Matthew Stafford, sends him back 6 yards. Fourth down, very next play. Stafford looking and firing for Cooper Kupp in the end zone. He can't get him. It's a turnover on downs. So the Eagles, they saw the 70 the Dolphins put up. They just want more. Throw for A.J. Brown. Can he? Could he? Will he? He won't. But a 65-yarder ends this one. Eagles win at 52-27. They head to New York to take on the Jets next week. The Rams get Arizona in a tough battle. Philly goes to 2-2. Rams drop to 1-3 in what has been a busy week in the Tecmo NFL season. Finally, let's take a look at our offensive and defensive players of the week for both conferences. Starting with the NFC, the offensive player of the week, Bryce Young of the Carolina Panthers. Bryce was 17 for 28, throwing 430 yards, averaging 25.2 yards per completion, and 5 touchdowns, as well as having a rushing attempt for 17 yards. For the defensive player of the week for the NFC, Shaq Thompson, also of the Carolina Panthers, who had 4 sacks for 33 yards. That's an average of 8.3 yards per sack, and a safety. Both of these players helped in the Panthers' win over the Detroit Lions. For the AFC, the offensive player of the week, Tua Tagovailoa of the Miami Dolphins. He threw 13 for 20 at 370 yards. That's 28.5 yards per completion, as well as throwing for 7 touchdowns, even though he also threw a pick in the absolute domination the Dolphins had over the Giants. And for the defensive player of the week for the AFC, DJ Reader of the Cincinnati Bengals, who had 4 sacks just like Shaq Thompson, sacking for 24 yards. That's an average of 6 yards per sack in the Cincinnati Bengals win over the Cardinals. And that'll do it for Tecmo Rewind for this week. For all of us here at SVGN, the Sports Video Game Network, I hope that you have a fantastic rest of your week. I hope to see you Thursday for our game of the week between the Seattle Seahawks and the Cincinnati Bengals. This is Joe signing off by saying good night, everybody.